Hare Krishna devotees, welcome to Shloka Day. Today's Shloka is Shloka number 25 of chapter 10. Maharshinam bhriguraham
Maharshina Bhriguraham
Giram asmekam aksharam
Giramasmekamaksharam
Yajnanam japa yajñosmi
Yajnanam Japayajñosmi
Stavaranam Himalaya.
Stavaranam Himalaya.
Word for word meaning, translation, and purport by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Maharishinam,
Maharishinam,
among the great sages.
among the great sages.
Bhrigu,
Bhrigu,
Bhrigu.
Bhrigu,
Aham,
Aham,
I am.
I am.
Giram,
Giram,
of vibrations.
of vibrations.
Asmi,
Asmi,
I am.
I am.
Ekam aksharam,
Ekam Aksharam,
Pranava.
Pranava,
Yajnanam,
Yajnanam,
of sacrifices.
sacrifices.
Japa yajnaha,
Japa Yajnaha,
chanting.
chanting.
Asmi,
Asmi,
I am.
am.
Sthavaranam,
Stavaranam,
of immovable things.
immovable things.
Himalaya,
Himalaya,
the Himalayan mountains.
Himalayan mountains.
Translation. Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu.
Of the great sages, I am Bhrigu.
Of vibrations, I am the transcendental Om.
Of vibrations, I am the transcendental Om.
Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names.
Of sacrifices, I am the chanting of the holy names.
Japa.
Japa.
And of immovable things, I am the Himalayas.
And of immovable things, I am the Himalayas.
An important shloka for us, because the Lord is talking about chanting of the holy names. Prabhupada writes, Brahma, the first living entity, the first living creature within the universe, created several sons for the propagation of various kinds of species. Among those sons, Bhrigu is the most powerful sage. Of all the transcendental vibrations, Om, Omkara represents Krishna. So, we've already heard Prabhupada explain that Om represents the impersonal feature of the Lord. So, Omkara is also a representation of Lord Krishna, but it is of his formless aspect. Of all sacrifices, the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, is the purest representation of Krishna. Sometimes animal sacrifices are recommended, but in the sacrifice of Hare Krishna, there's no question of violence. It is the simplest and the purest. Whatever is sublime in the worlds is a representation of Krishna. Therefore, the Himalayas, the greatest mountains in the world, also represent him. The mountain named Meru was mentioned in a previous verse, but Meru is sometimes movable, whereas the Himalayas are never movable. Thus, the Himalayas are greater than Meru. From another parampara. While all fruits and flowers grow from the same land, only the best amongst them are selected for an exhibition. Similarly, everything that is manifest and unmanifest in the universe is the glory of God, but the prominent amongst them are singled out for mention as his opulence. So it's very nicely stated here that if we try to make a bouquet, you will select the most beautiful flowers that go well together to represent the glory of flowers. Similarly here, You are getting a bouquet of different opulences of the Lord to help you remember that everything originates from Him. Amongst the sages in the celestial planes of existence, Bhrigu is special. He possesses wisdom, glory, and devotion. Lord Vishnu holds the mark of his foot on his chest as a consequence of a divine pastime described in the Puranas, in which Bhrigu tested the trinity of Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Sri Krishna's glory is revealed best through him. So we know the pastime where Bhrigu tests Brahma by not offering him obeisances. When he goes to visit Lord Shiva, he criticizes him with words. Both Brahma and Shiva were not very pleased with Bhrigu's actions or inactions. And when Bhrigu goes to meet Lord Vishnu is resting. And he puts his foot on the Lord's chest in disgust that the Lord has not gotten up to greet a Vaishnava like Bhrigu. So at that time, the Lord apologizes to him, begs his forgiveness, saying, my heart is hard, or my heart is hard. And hence the Lord has this imprint of Bhrigu's footprint on his chest. So how did each of the personalities respond? Demonstrates who is the topmost among the Trinity. Worshippers of God in his formless aspect like to meditate on the Om vibration, which is another Vibhuti of God. Shri Krishna had declared previously in verses 7.8 and 8.13 the syllable Om to be a sacred sound. It is the Anahata Nad, the sound vibration that pervades creation. It is often present in the beginning of Vedic mantras for invoking auspiciousness. We start this whole class by saying Om and then Ajnana Timirandasya. It is said that from the monosyllable Om, the Gayatri mantra was revealed. And from the Gayatri mantra, the Vedas were revealed. So the Gayatri mantra is higher than the Vedic scriptures. The Himalayas are a mountain range lying at the north of India. Since ages, they have inspired spiritual awe and wonder in billions of devotees. Their atmosphere, environment, and solitude are conducive to the performance of austerities for spiritual progress. Thus, many great sages reside in the Himalayas, in their subtle bodies, practicing penance for their own advancement and for the benefit of humankind. And so, of the multitude of mountain ranges in this world, the Himalayas best display his opulence. Yajna is the act of dedicating ourselves to the Supreme. The simplest of all yajnas is the chanting of the holy names of God. This is called yajna, japa yajna, or the sacrifice of the devotional repetition of the divine names of God. For the practice of ritualistic yajnas, a number of rules are applicable, all of which need to be meticulously followed. If you do any other type of yajna, like a fire yajna or any other type of yajna, there are a lot of rules that one has to follow. If you don't follow those rules, you don't get the benefit of that yajna. But that's not the case when chanting the holy name of the Lord. However, in japa yajna, there are no rules. It can be done anywhere and at any time and is more purifying than the other forms of yajnas. In the present age of Kali, the chanting of the names of God is even more emphasized. Kali Yuga Kevala Nama Adhara. Sumiri Sumiri Nara Utarahi Para. It's a verse from Tulsi Raman. In the age of Kali, the chanting and remembrance of the names of God is the most powerful means of crossing the ocean of material existence. That is what that little line means there. This is a commentary by Chaitanya Charan Prabhu. So he says that the essence of fire sacrifice is not lighting a fire without, but lighting the fire within. That spark within us has to be fanned. Prabhupada has always said, since we are already all spiritual beings, that spark is already there in us to love Krishna. So an acharya or a pure devotee or devotees, sincere devotees will come into your life to simply fan that spark and make it a flame. So the lighting of the fire is not external. That's one aspect. The lighting of the fire of the love of God is actually internal. You already have that spark within you. A great devotee may come into your life and simply fan that spark, which is what Srila Prabhupada has done for all of us. The point is to light the fire of selflessness within. In principle, fire sacrifice centers on giving up for a higher purpose the things enjoyable for oneself. That selfless spirit, when directed towards the divine, burns away the impurities in the sacrificers' hearts. Such a principle-centered understanding of sacrifice explains why the Gita, in Slokas 25 to 29, where it talks about all the different types of yajnas, dravya yajna, tapo yajna, deems as forms of sacrifice various activities that have no fire literally in them. These activities range from worship of the gods to impersonal meditation, from regulated householder life to renounced life, and from scriptural study to social charity. All of this is considered yajna. Yajna without a fire. In fact, the Gita repeatedly gives a metaphorical reading of sacrifice by conceiving, say, the impersonal absolute as a sacrificial fire and the soul as the oblation, or the senses as the sacrificial fire and the sense objects as the oblation. So the Lord very beautifully uses analogies and metaphors to explain even how the soul is offered as the ultimate sacrifice in the fire of sacrifice. By thus infusing various spiritually dovetailable activities with the imagery of sacrifice, the Gita extends the sanctity of sacrifice beyond the fire to the world. Taking this sanctity into the inner world of consciousness, the Gita exalts mantra meditation as the sacrifice that specially manifests Krishna. In mantra meditation, practitioners sacrifice their most intimate possession. What is our most intimate possession? Our consciousness. To offer prayerful attention to their beloved Lord, instead of letting it wander to any of the myriad enjoyable worldly objects. Krishna reciprocates with their devotion by manifesting his all-attractiveness as the holy name. The resulting experience of Krishna is so enriching that it causes the flame of longing for him to blaze into a conflagration. Conflagration is a huge fire that burns to ashes all selfish desires and rouses fully the sacrificer's dormant devotion, ultimately elevating them to the world of endless love. Such a beautifully explained, deeper understanding of what Krishna means when he says, chant the holy names. There are so many sacrifices that don't involve fire. And the easiest and the highest form of sacrifice, as for the Lord himself, is repeatedly chanting his names.
If you like our videos, please subscribe to our channel and turn on the bell notification. If you'd like to join our classes every day, please check the details in the description section of this video. We look forward to serving you.